Released by Platinum Games in 2022 on the Nintendo Switch, Bayonetta 3 would be the next game in the franchise following Bayonetta 2. Directed by Yusuke Miyata and written by Hideki Kamiya, the game would introduce a new playable character, more open areas, and emphasize demon summons and fusions in combat. The story only gets larger from here, so let's cut it down to size with a recapitation. As the game begins, New York is destroyed as Bayonetta struggles in a duel against a mysterious and shadowy foe who is not only able to warp reality around them, but also powerful enough to even ignore witch time. As her Umbran watch is shattered, Bayonetta is caught and pinned while another witch to the side named Viola looks on in panic. Another rebel soldier activates a device called a world bridge and gives it to Viola, who runs over to Bayonetta as the witch uses her dying breath to give Viola the last of her magic. Bayonetta then crystallizes over and explodes as the soldier sacrifices himself to buy Viola a moment for her to activate the world bridge just in time to escape into another parallel universe. We now see another New York City as Enzo is once again accompanying Bayonetta on errands and Rodin senses the storm that is approaching as he serves pizza in a food truck. Bayonetta can hear Viola calling out for help as she moves ahead to check out a strange disturbance while Viola falls from a portal in the sky, landing in Enzo's arms. A giant underwater creature creates a tsunami headed for the city, but Rodin arrives to handle the matter personally, repelling the monster with one punch as unfamiliar foes surround Bayonetta. Assuming her new battle attire, Bayonetta easily dispenses with the fodder while the tsunami crashes over the city and Rodin swiftly delivers her new firearm set, the triple-barreled Color My World. The witch also unleashes her new technique of Demon Masquerade, transforming into a fusion with her contracted demon, Madama Butterfly, to handle the more powerful enemies that enter the fray. She summons her demonic servant Gamora to finish off an enemy, but the dragon halts its attack, and Rodin affirms the invaders are not from Paradiso or Inferno, so it is not part of the deal. Before Gamora can turn on Bayonetta again, the witch quickly invokes an ancient demon slave spell, assuming direct control of the dragon and manipulating it like a puppet to rip apart her enemy. As the storm worsens, large vessels descend from the sky, releasing hundreds of soldiers and bombarding what little remains of the sunken city. As one vessel fires devastating beams targeting Bayonetta specifically, her childhood friend Jean arrives on her motorcycle in time to lend a helping hand. A demonic kraken is summoned by an unseen witch and now attacks the pair as it swallows up Jean, and in response, Bayonetta calls upon a giant version of Madama Butterfly to rip her free. Rodin covers their escape, telling Bayonetta they need to talk, and taking Enzo with him, they all fall back to Rodin's place. In the brief respite, Rodin explains this new army is actually part human, and approaching them, Viola explains there are man-made bioweapons called homunculi, introducing herself cautiously to Bayonetta. Viola quickly explains the homunculi spread like locusts, destroying worlds across the multiverse, but Jean is more curious as to how she is a witch they have never heard of. Viola replies that she actually knows them in her old world that fell to the homunculi, and adds the version of Bayonetta and Jean she knew died to them as well. Rodin points out that while it's true there are multiple parallel worlds of chaos layered on one another, it's closer to say that bioweapons are breaking apart the multiverse in order to fuse them together. If they do so, they will accumulate so much power they could eliminate the entire Trinity, and to stop this, Viola says they first need to find a scientist named Sigurd in this world. She then takes out a device called a Chaos Gear, claiming it is the key to beating Singularity, the creator of the homunculi, and asks Bayonetta to help her locate more. Viola also introduces her personal demon, Cheshire, as Bayonetta finds the demonic cat awfully familiar. Elaborating more on Singularity, Viola explains he is the first person to figure out the multiverse, declaring his world the Alphaverse, and began a campaign of destroying other layers of the multiverse with his creations. Her mission is to defeat Singularity within his Alphaverse, but while she doesn't have a means of freely crossing the multiverse, there is a nexus point that connects everything everywhere all at once. Taking Bayonetta there, they arrive at the legendary island created by both the Umbra and Lumen groups for research, Thule. However, homunculi forces are already there ahead of them, as well as Luca, as Bayonetta sees there are windows into other parallel worlds around the island. Finding a multiverse portal generator, Bayonetta decides to indulge her curiosity, finding herself in Shibuya, Tokyo, where the world is ending with the homunculi too. Unfortunately, she is unable to match the sheer power of the iridescent colossus, but does spot a chaos gear within it. Rodin continues to expand the witch's arsenal as Bayonetta finds a lingering memory of this world's version of herself and Jean fighting the homunculi. This world's version of Phantasma Rainey appears and agrees to help her pursue and evade the World Ender as a Twilight Wanderer named Strider suddenly lashes out at the witch. Bayonetta is unsure who or what the werewolf actually is, as it's not angelic, infernal, and not quite human either, as it retreats after losing in their skirmish. Not far, Bayonetta spots Luca on the run from homunculi, pausing only to flirt with her as Bayonetta wonders what he's doing here as well as on Thule. She soon sees this world's version of herself, Phantasmaraine's real master, fuse with a demon and fight the aquatic apocalypse with fiery yo-yos, spinning to win in her effort to destroy the monster's core. However, a new threat catches her off guard, quickly crystallizing her as Japanese Bayonetta spots Bayonetta, tossing her weapon and power over to her as she is soon shattered and killed. Accepting the disc armor, Bayonetta hears a voice belonging to Singularity speak out to her, calling her Recap Origins, and knowing Viola came to her for help. It revives the iridescent bioweapon and grows it even larger, and in response, Bayonetta rips out her own heart in order to invoke even stronger magic to conjure up an equally titanic ally, Singamora, and the two kaiju clash, crushing the remains of Tokyo underfoot. A full-body beam takes down the iridescent behemoth once and for all, but Singularity doesn't mind, stating this world is already doomed anyway. As Bayonetta is called back to Thule, she claims the Chaos Gear left behind, as elsewhere, Jean infiltrates the facility to locate Sigurd. She finds she cannot fully use her magic here, making use of on-site procurement, and succeeds in locating Dr. Sigurd. The doctor presumes she seeks a way to the Alphaverse, agreeing to help as they quickly escape on motorbikes, stealing a jet to return to Thule. Back with Bayonetta, she enters another portal, finding herself in what seems like ancient China, but Singularity assures her this world's year is in sync with her own, explaining it has just taken a drastically different course like thousands of others. She soon sees a memory of this world's variant Bayonetta, who was in contract with the war-trained Guan and leading the fight against the homunculi army. She also helps Viola out of a tight spot, showing her the Chaos Gear she just acquired, as the witch in training says they need 5 in total. Bayonetta chooses to safekeep the artifacts for now, which annoys Viola as much as Bayonetta's nickname Kitty for her. Luca steps in, saying a nickname means she has to prove herself to Bayonetta, but pauses as he finds Viola awfully familiar. A closer inspection causes a severe headache for him as he abruptly leaves for now, chasing a voice he hears, and concerned, Bayonetta instructs Viola to watch over Luca. Though she tries to keep up, Viola loses track of Luca and instead contends with the werewolf again, but leaves her behind as she is approached by a massive boar bioweapon. Standing her ground with her katana, Cheshire, and bare fist brawling style, Viola scores a win for herself, but Luca is still nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, Bayonetta investigates an unusually violent volcano nearby, finding an equally violent ape-like homunculus within it, forcing its eruption. This time, Chinese Bayonetta arrives on her demon war train to lend a hand as they team up to tackle the brute together, easily derailing it and claiming its Chaos Gear. However, the homunculus manages to sneak attack the variant, crushing her and absorbing her and the Chaos Gear back into itself, forming a fearsome force fusion. Singularity appears again, declaring this world is doomed too, but all the same will seek to crush her here. Bayonetta rises up to the challenge with Queen Butterfly, insisting on being the one doing the crushing as she picks up a new weapon and Chaos Gear, and Singularity promises that they will meet again. As soon as she returns, Bayonetta hears the howl of the Wolfman, as does Viola, as the young witch hurries to find Luca. Her chase leads her to another parallel world, this time in the Egyptian desert. Collapsing under the sweltering heat, Viola is saved by Cheshire's dowsing ability as they finally catch up to Luca, whose headaches are getting worse, saying there is someone telling him to see the truth. Something begins to possess Luca as he attacks Viola and transforms into the Wolfman right in front of her. The young witch cannot fend off his fierce attacks as he runs her through with his claws, fatally wounding her. However, a sleeping power now wakes up inside of Viola as she assumes a powerful fairy wolf form of her own that not only revives her but could easily take down Luca. Unfortunately, her new form wears out quickly as Bayonetta arrives, learning that Strider is actually Luca and lets him go. Viola insists on continuing her pursuit of Luca, saying the collapsing multiverse is causing his instability, and asks Bayonetta to trust her to this as Luca means a lot to her too. Bayonetta agrees, continuing her Chaos Gear hunt in the direction of Cairo, finding a memory that reveals her variant in this world is a princess of these lands who was being guarded by the variant Jean. Jean's contracted demon empress Ball helps out Bayonetta until she fades, sharing that Jean is weakening as the witch hurries, finding the princess contracted the demonic raven Malphus and joins forces with it as well. Entering a wind temple, Bayonetta solves its puzzles quick enough to secure the Chaos Gear and a treasure vault within, though along the way she wonders why Viola keeps preoccupying her thoughts. Narrowly escaping the collapsing temple with the help of Malphus, a flying homunculus takes out her ride as she tumbles below, finding Jean trapped down here as well. Working together to take down the Guardians of the Barrier, Bayonetta is still unable to prevent Jean from being absorbed by the homunculus and hesitates to execute her, when a fusion-formed Egyptian Bayonetta flies in and kills her friend as a mercy. However, a second homunculus absorbs Jean anyway, ascending into a new form and tries to kill both Bayonettas, who team up to defeat the Colossus and create an explosion so intense it forms a vortex that begins to swallow everything. Egyptian Bayonetta sacrifices herself to save Bayonetta, passing on her weapons and contract as Bayonetta is returned to Thule once again. Viola returns as well, reaching the island's freezing peaks, observing more mirrors to other worlds shatter as their respective multiverses end. She follows the strange gem trail of a wisp as it leads her to a man named Lucaon, the half-human king of the fairies, who says Luca is actually his counterpart drawn here to him. He senses Viola was drawn here as well due to sharing a blood bond, but is interrupted as he hears a voice call out to him. Viola is left behind as she is taken to another parallel world, this time in Paris, as under a blood-red moon she is attacked again by Strider. Fighting for control, Luca tells Viola to stay back as he reveals he's heard a second voice of his own ever since he was a kid, knocking her away, as elsewhere in the same world Bayonetta senses Viola in trouble. In this world, Bayonetta sees her variant as a notorious thief partnered with her mother Rosa, while Inspector Enzo tries to catch them. The homunculi would beat the pair to the Chaos Gear prize during their heist, as French Bayonetta would send her contract demon, the bat-like Miclanta Kutli, to pursue, as it asks Bayonetta for help as well. As Bayonetta catches up, she sees her mother has reclaimed the Chaos Gear but opens fire on Bayonetta, revealing she is currently under mind control. Fending off her mother in her powerful Umbran armor, Bayonetta and Enzo both give chase as Rosa summons an Umbran clock tower, unleashing a relentless barrage of various defenses. As Rosa is defeated, she regains her mind long enough to beg Bayonetta to kill her while she has the chance, and understanding, Bayonetta bitterly complies. Bayonetta also claims Rosa's armaments, but Miclanta Kutli snatches away the Chaos Gear and gets away. Soon enough, Bayonetta sees the mind-controlling bugs responsible for reducing normal humans into mindless zombies, although their coordination has proven to be impressively thrilling. Using Gamora to render the army useless, Bayonetta is confronted by her French variant, who has the Chaos Gear in hand now, as she forces Bayonetta to dance and duel as revenge for killing Rosa, regardless of her reasons. French Bayonetta is caught off guard by a mind-controlling parasite as Singularity mocks them both and summons a swarm to take care of the other. In response, Bayonetta summons Ball in her regal form to exterminate the pests in an enchanting diva dance and mind-shattering opera performance. Somberly, Bayonetta reclaims the Chaos Gear as well as the Burglar's Gear, as Singularity chuckles that they will be seeing each other very soon. Holding the 5 Chaos Gears they need, Bayonetta takes a break while waiting for Jean to return with Dr. Sigurd and opens an old picture book to revisit a past memory. She used to have a cat plushie named Cheshire, and one day while exploring Avalon Forest she found a magic hand mirror and had a whole adventure detailed in the Bayonetta Origins game. Later, Jean arrives with Dr. Sigurd and he activates an altar nearby for the gears to be placed in. Fending off more homunculi interference, the group activates the portal as Jean holds the line, allowing Bayonetta to enter the Alphaverse on her own. After skirmishing with some homunculi, she is surprised to encounter Strider here as well and tries to calm him down despite him gouging her with his claws. Though he goes on a frenzy again, Lucas shares he has always heard a voice telling him to seek the truth and followed its guidance, feeling he's never been in control of his life. Luca also feels he's always been a hateful, murderous monster, and after letting him vent his frustrations, Bayonetta assures him she cannot imagine her life without him. A dark cloud leaves Luca as he tries to push Bayonetta away while he tumbles down. The shadow manifests in a dark atom, the first Luca killed by Singularity, and Bayonetta wastes no time in destroying the angry spirit quickly. Concerned for Luca's fate, Bayonetta is approached by wisps of light that reveal themselves to be Viola, Luca, and Lucaon, who confirm Luca is at peace now. Lucaon notices they have been drawn to the Alphaverse, but more precisely, Viola sees they are on the Homunculus Nerve Center, where it turns out the real Dr. Sigurd is being used to remotely control Singularity's creations from the Alphaverse. It dawns on them that Dr. Sigurd on Thule is the real mastermind Singularity, as back on Thule, Singularity backstabs Jean, kills her, and absorbs her soul. Lucaon observes these events as the truth he was shown, stating the hearts of all Arc Atoms will converge here, letting himself combine with Luca. Luca's form is restored as he reveals he now realizes his purpose is to get Bayonetta where she needs to be, saying he will use the vortex absorbing this world's energy to send them to their original world. Bayonetta leans in to give him a farewell kiss as Luca puts that on hold, knowingly telling the girls that he loves them both as he leaps into the vortex as Strider to stabilize it. Arriving back in a ruined New York City by herself, Bayonetta sees Singularity, who transforms into a colossal chaos form, as she does the same and they duke it out. However, Singularity seems to have the edge against Sin Gamora, and pushed to her limit, Bayonetta calls in Madama Butterfly with a combined beam attack to edge out a win. Launching Singularity into space, the bioweapon ascends into a new form and the two expend their strongest summons against each other, and Bayonetta begins to take the lead, creating cracks in Singularity's body. Absorbed souls from the many multiverses begin to leak out as dozens of Bayonettas assemble behind Eve Origin, and united, their efforts outdo Singularity's reality-altering powers. Declaring the truth is what she makes it, Bayonetta continues to free more claimed souls as even Jean returns to make a stand, and together they beat Singularity down, sending him hurtling back to Earth. Assuming his ultimate form now, Singularity is able to pressure Bayonetta even in Witch Time as she begins to fall like so many variants before. Viola does her best to oppose Singularity but is no match, revealing now she is the daughter of Bayonetta and Luca in another world. Singularity is about to kill them both when they are saved by another iconic pair of Bayonettas, proving the bioweapon's finality wasn't as final as he predicted. Singularity is genuinely confused at the madness of the multiverse, as before him is original Bayonetta 1 from the first game who saved young Cereza, as it turns out that Viola's mother, whom he thought was the original Bayonetta, was just another variant. Joining her is Bayonetta 2 from the second game that fought alongside her mother during the witch hunt to battle a certain Lumen Sage. Combining into one, the layered reflections of Bayonetta are able to match Singularity blow for blow, as even Luca swings in to minimal effect, shocking the bioweapon with his existence, and both Adam and Eve agree Viola is the truth they need to protect. Confident and capable with his fairy powers now, Luca assists as Strider as the two finally defeat Singularity with Gamora, and as he explodes, Singularity causes another vortex that begins to consume the world. The toll of the battle catches up to Bayonetta, losing control of Gamora again, and the demon doesn't hesitate to claim her soul as payback for its enslavement. Luca saves Viola and swiftly strikes down Gamora, clinging onto Bayonetta's soul, telling her they'll always be together. Bayonetta replies that they have always been together, telling Luca she loves him as they kiss while being dragged down to Inferno together. Viola cries out at watching her parents die again as Eve, the summoner of the Kraken much earlier, arrives and attacks. Resolving to stand up and believe in herself, Viola takes down the shadow effigy of her mother, earning her place as a witch. Acknowledging her strength, the shadow reforms into the first Bayonetta killed by Singularity, who says this was her last lesson, bequeathing a new name to Viola now. As the game ends, the world of chaos is saved as Viola now trains under Rodin by doing odd jobs with Enzo while attending school, operating under her new title, Bayonetta. Bayonetta 3 has enjoyed the success of selling over 1.1 million copies worldwide.